Okay, so today we're diving into one of the most influential books ever written, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But we're not just going to list the habits. No, we're going deeper to uncover the one powerful idea, the big mindset shift that actually makes all of them work. And listen, if you've ever struggled to make a change stick in your life, this is probably the reason why.
It all kicks off with a question that, man, I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why is it so hard to change? I mean, you get totally fired up, you set these big goals, and then a few weeks later, poof, you're right back where you started. It's just this incredibly frustrating cycle, right? Breaking promises to yourself over and over. And that frustration, it shows up in some really painful ways. The book points to these common struggles, and I bet some of these will sound familiar. You've got career success, but your family life is paying the price. You can't seem to keep a simple promise you made to yourself. You feel rushed and pressured like all day, every day. Maybe your marriage has gone stale, or you just don't feel any loyalty from the people you work with. See, these aren't just little annoyances. These are deep, nagging problems that a lot of us are dealing with.
So, faced with all that, what do we usually do? Well, we go for the quick fix, right? We buy a new planner, sign up for some seminar, listen to a motivational speech. But Stephen Covey, the author, he argues that's basically like slapping a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Yeah, it might cover it up for a little while, but it's not going to do anything to heal what's actually wrong underneath. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Covey didn't just guess about this stuff. He actually went back and studied 200 years of literature about success. And what he found was, well, it was a startling pattern. He saw this massive and kind of concerning shift in how our culture even thinks about what success is. So get this, for the first 150 years of that research, it was all about what he called the character ethic. Success was about who you were on the inside, things like integrity, humility, courage, justice. But then something changed. After World War I, the focus completely flipped to what he calls the personality ethic. It wasn't about who you were anymore. It was about how you appeared to be. All of a sudden, it was all about public image, little techniques and tricks, and just looking successful. And this difference is absolutely crucial. On one side, you have the character ethic. Think of this as the foundation, the deep roots, what Covey calls primary greatness. Then, on the other side, you've got the personality ethic, which is all the superficial stuff, the quick fixes. He calls that secondary greatness. And look, skills and techniques are important, of course they are, but without that solid foundation of character, well, it's basically like trying to build a giant skyscraper on a foundation of sand. It's just not going to hold up.
And this wasn't just some academic theory for Covey. This whole thing became incredibly personal. See, he had a son who was really struggling with school, with sports, just socially. And Covey and his wife, they did what any parent would do. They tried everything. But they were pulling all their tricks from that personality ethic playbook. Positive reinforcement, trying to psych him up. Basically, they were trying to manage his behavior and his image. And guess what? None of it was working. And this quote, this really gets to the brutal truth of what was going on. They finally realized that all their actions, all their encouraging words, they didn't matter. Why? Because their deep down internal belief, their perception of him was that he wasn't capable, that he needed to be protected. And kids are smart. That's what he was picking up on, no matter what they said or did on the surface. So the big breakthrough, the real light bulb moment, it only happened when they completely shifted their focus. They stopped trying to fix their son, and instead, they started working on themselves. They had to change their own perception of him, that internal map they were using, and just see him for who he was, a capable, unique kid who was just on his own timeline. Okay, so this idea of an internal map is so important. It brings us right to the core concept we need to understand for everything else to make sense. And that concept is the paradigm. So what is a paradigm? Well, put simply, it's the way we see the world. It's like the glasses you're wearing. It's your frame of reference, your assumptions. It's that mental map we keep talking about. And here's the thing. We all have them for pretty much everything. But most of the time, we don't even know they're there. And that leads to this huge idea summed up in this classic quote, "The map is not the territory." In other words, our paradigms, our perceptions, they aren't reality. They're just our version of it. So what happens when your map is just plain wrong? Covey uses this absolutely perfect analogy to explain this. Imagine you're trying to get around Chicago, but the map you have is actually a map of Detroit. Think about it. You could work on your behavior, try harder, run faster from street to street. You could work on your attitude. I'm going to be so positive about finding this place. But does any of that matter? Nope. You will never find your destination because you are using the wrong map. Your fundamental paradigm is flawed. But what happens when you get the right map? Or even better, what happens when your paradigm, your whole way of seeing things, suddenly shifts in an instant? Well, that feeling is something you never, ever forget. To show what this feels like, Covey tells this incredible story. So picture this. He's on a subway in New York. It's a quiet Sunday morning. It's peaceful, People are just quietly reading their papers, maybe dozing off a little. And then, at the next stop, a man gets on with his children, and the kids are just completely out of control. They're yelling, throwing things, disturbing the peace for everyone. And the father? He just sits there, eyes closed, doing absolutely nothing. As you can imagine, Covey is getting more and more annoyed. I mean, wouldn't you be? Finally, Covey can't take it anymore. He says something to the man, suggesting he get his kids under control. The father looks up, almost as if he's waking up from a dream, and he says, "We just came from the hospital where their mother died about an hour ago. I don't know what to think, and I guess they don't know how to handle it either." Just imagine that. And boom, in that single instant, everything changed for Covey. His entire paradigm just shattered. All that irritation and judgment, gone, instantly replaced with this rush of compassion and empathy. His feelings, his behavior, it all changed on a dime. Not because he tried to be more patient, but because he finally saw the situation clearly. That is a paradigm shift. See, some things, some realities, they're like lighthouses. They're based on principles that just don't bend. There's this great story of a battleship captain who sees a light ahead and radios, "Change course 20 degrees. The reply comes back, "You change course 20 degrees. The captain, furious, radios back, "I'm a battleship." And the final reply comes, "I'm a lighthouse." The point is, you can argue with reality all you want, but the lighthouse isn't moving. You can't break these natural laws. You can only break yourself against them. All right, so if the real root of our problems lies deep inside us, in our paradigms, then it just makes sense that the solution has to start there too. It has to start from the inside. And this is exactly what Covey calls the inside-out approach. What does that mean, inside out? It's simple, really. It means if you want a happier marriage, you work on being a more loving spouse. If you want to have more dedicated employees, you become a more trustworthy leader. You stop pointing fingers and trying to change everybody else, and you start with the one and only person you actually have control over, yourself. And there's an order to this. It's a process. First, you have to start with you, your paradigms, your character, your deep down motives. That's where you earn what Covey calls private victories. This is about making and keeping promises to yourself. It's about self-discipline and integrity. It's only after you've won those private battles that you can move on to public victories, succeeding in your relationships with other people. You've got to be solid on the inside first. Albert Einstein had a quote that just perfectly captures this whole idea. He said, "The significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them." And that's it, right? Trying to fix our problems just by tweaking our behavior is like hacking away at the leaves of a tree when the problem is in the roots. You have to go deeper. You have to change the way you think. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful idea of all. Very often, the problem isn't the problem. The way you see the problem is the problem. So the question to leave you with is a personal one. What map are you using? What are the paradigms you're using to navigate your career, your relationships, your life? And are you absolutely sure they're taking you where you truly want to go?